Hey guys, welcome to Reddit Brew Espresso Shots. A quick little story you can watch while you're getting ready for work, while you're on lunch break, or if you're just bored. So let's jump into the Reddit story. Even Tinkerbell has had enough. This is an old story, but it popped into my head while I was hunting through videos on YouTube, so I'd figured I'd post it. Like I said, this is an old story, and I can't remember exactly how all of the conversations went, so they're pretty much just my recollection. Years ago, shortly after I had left the service, my girlfriend, now wife, and I moved in together, halfway across the US and to a place where we both had friends as a result of our military travels. One of my wife's friends, we'll call her Anna, had gotten married in the intervening years since they had last been together, and was in the process of a divorce since her husband had knocked up the checkout girl at the local orchard. She had left the home, a single wide trailer, important later, they owned, left the car they owned, which she had solely paid for and it was still in her name, moved back in with her parents, and got a second job. She already worked at a large big box retail establishment. Of course, my wife and I commiserated with her on multiple occasions about how poorly she had been treated. Anna made a remark at one point about missing her bills that month. My wife asked, "What bills? You live with your parents. You have 2 jobs, no credit cards, and you never do anything expensive. What could you possibly owe anyone money for?" It turns out that she still had a checking account linked to her ex-husband's account. And when he decided not to pay the mortgage or the car payment, they simply took it out of her account, marked the loan current, and went on with their lives. Shortly after the divorce, he would make most payments, but for the last year or so, he hadn't made a single one. So ex-hubby has perfect credit because he never misses a payment, and Anna's credit is in the toilet because she is constantly late on her own bills. Anna may have 2 jobs and not a lot of bills. Cell phone, car payment, insurance. But when she's making someone else's mortgage and car payments, she's pretty much broke. And that's why she has to have me change her oil in my gravel driveway, because she can't afford $20 for Jiffy Lube. I asked her why she didn't close the accounts and go somewhere else. Anna's answer, "But if they miss their payments, the bank will take their house and their car, and they have a baby. I can't do that to them." I did the Forrest Whitaker eye. Then I said, "They're taking advantage of you pretty badly. They've established that you'll pay all their bills for them and they can do whatever the hell they want, because you'll never force the sale of the house or the car. If I had an option to pay my bills or pass it off to someone I don't like, I'd let them do it every time. He's paying an electric bill and getting a free house, car, and everything else. And I can guarantee you that he's handing these bills to the social worker and claiming he can't afford to live, so they'll give him WIC, food stamps, and everything else. You're funding the lifestyle of an asshole who cheated on you, and a woman who knew he was married, because every time she came over, she made him take your wedding pictures down, so she didn't have to look at you while she naughtied your husband. You're paying bills for a guy who is so dumb that he thought he couldn't get a woman pregnant he wasn't married to, and a woman who thought if she had an orgasm before she came over to sleep with your husband while you were at work, her egg would be gone and she couldn't get pregnant. The dumb bee with an itch was using a sex toy as birth control. She gives it some thought, and a couple of days later asks for some help out of this. I took her to my bank to get an account the next day. She moves her direct deposit, withdraws her money, and closes her old bank account. The next month, ex-hubby's bills don't get paid. We're watching a movie when he calls. She spends an hour in a screaming match with him, telling him to pay his own bills. She has been charitable enough, and he and his new wife can pay for their own shit. Then the penny drops. Remember earlier when I said the house was a trailer? Anna has been paying the mortgage on the trailer, but not the rent for the lot it's on. They never had her checking account. This entitled prick has been assuming she's been paying that too. She assumed he had. mad. He hasn't even figured out what's coming yet. He's calling because he's pissed off she hasn't paid the lot rent in forever, and he's being told to pay up, move his trailer, or they'll do it, and hold the trailer in arrears until the bill for moving it is paid. He's calling to ask her for another $6 grand, or they'll lose the home they both loved so much. Now, up until this moment, Anna had been this sweet, wonderful gumdrop of a person. The type of person that it should be legal to slap if they're encountered before 9 a.m. The relentlessly sunny person that you send in the room to cheer up Tinkerbell. In the better part of a year, I haven't heard this woman say a bad thing about anybody. Until tonight. Until this guy called to complain that she hadn't been paying enough of his bills. She loses her mind. She lights into this guy that he'd better figure it out because he's not getting another penny from her ever again. And while he's figuring out who to beg, borrow, or steal that money from, he may want to get a little extra since he's about to get the overdue notices for the house and the car too. He starts screaming so loud that I can clearly hear what he's calling her from across the room before she calmly hits the end button, flips the phone over, pops the battery out, sits them both down on my table, hits play on the VCR, and morphs back into her normally sunny self and offers to make popcorn. Monday morning, she went to the lawyer, filed a no contact order, filed for bankruptcy. Her credit was already a mess, there were bills her name was on, and she didn't want that splatter all over her, and called the dealer that owned her car note, told her she couldn't make the payments anymore, and offers them a voluntary repossession. She has them bring out their tow truck and meets the driver with the keys and the paperwork. Signs them forms, asks the driver oh so sweetly to drop her off at her parents' house on the way back to the dealer, and waves at her ex from the passenger seat of the tow truck as he comes running out of the trailer wearing only a towel. Over the course of the next month or two, he lost his job because he couldn't get to work anymore. His wife had to go back to weighing pears at the orchard. Turns out she'd left her job when Anna was paying for everything, and sell his record collection, which was what he'd been spending his money on while someone else was paying for everything. On the bright side, I picked up original vinyl copies of Abbey Road and Yellow Submarine for a total of $5 because his idiot wife running their yard sale didn't understand why the old crappy records were worth anything anyway. And that's how Tinkerbell burned some entitled asshole's life to the ground. Man, the redemption arc of this story was chef's kiss. I'll be honest, in the first half of the story, it was painful as I was thinking to myself, who is this much of a doormat to ruin your own life just to financially maintain a cheating husband and his mistress for an entire year? But Anna, my girl, thank you for finding your dignity and turning that sweet, beautiful heart of gold into a cold black dead one just long enough for this twat of a man to get his karma. And boy, did he ever get a good dose of karma. The sweet satisfaction of knowing that this awful man with zero conscience lost everything, and that OP got original vinyl copies of Abbey Road and Yellow Submarine for $5. That's what warms my cold, dead heart. But anyways, that is all from me today. I hope you enjoyed this little Entitled People revenge story. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I truly appreciate when you do, and I will see you in the next Reddit story. Bye!